Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're not just, reading about philosophy. We're using a stack of foundational texts from the Mahamudra tradition to shortcut our way to some really radical, profound knowledge about the nature of the mind.
Right.
And this isn't about belief. This is about achieving ultimate experiential certainty.
It really is the ultimate mission in this lineage. We're extracting the core insights designed to help a practitioner reach a state of knowledge where doubt about their own consciousness is, well, it's literally impossible.
Like a prerequisite, then.
It's the prerequisite for all further progress, absolutely.
So our sources give us the roadmap. Our mission here is to distill the technical insights, the specific techniques you need to achieve this ultimate certainty.
Yeah.
And quickly.
And this certainty has a name. It's a brilliant technical term. Lada.
Lada.
Lada. It's the knowledge we are aiming for. It means the discovery of the nature of mind, leaving no room for doubt. It's total confidence.
And when you achieve Lada, what exactly have you confirmed?
You've confirmed 4 defining qualities of the mind's nature.
Okay, so tell us what those 4 qualities are.
So first, the mind is unborn.
Unborn.
Second, it is unchanging. Third, it's unceasing. And fourth, it's beyond conceptual limitation.
Meaning, what exactly?
Meaning it can't be categorized within our normal linear systems of time, past, present, or future. It just sort of exists outside of that entire conceptual framework.
That's a huge claim.
Yeah.
I mean, if the mind is unceasing, what does that imply about our sense of self?
Yeah.
It suggests that the feeling of I never truly disappears. It changes form or context.
That's a great way to put it.
So why is confirming those 4 things, unborn, unchanging, unceasing, so critical to achieve this Lada?
Well, because if the mind were born, it would have to cease. If it could be categorized by time, it would be vulnerable to change, to destruction.
Yeah.
Lada confirms the ultimate, indestructible stability of consciousness itself.
Okay, let's unpack this then. If the goal is this radical doubt-free state, intellectual understanding alone isn't going to cut it.
Not even close.
We need to explore the specific, intense experiences and methods that actually unlock this realization, the things that anchor this certainty.
Absolutely. The certainty of Lada is achieved through applying specific meditation techniques that lead to very intense direct experiences. They're transformative.
And what are the qualities of these necessary experiences? Are we just talking about feeling, a bit calm?
No, not at all. The sources detail them as these bright experiences of bliss, clarity, and the absolute absence of concepts. And when these experiences manifest, they're actively purifying. They weaken mental obscurations and dissolve cognitive contamination.
So you're having these pure, bright, concept-free experiences. What do they reveal on a deep technical level?
They reveal a realization of unity, specifically the unity of emptiness, or sunyata, and luminosity.
Okay, sunyata. For the listener who might be hearing that for the first time, what's a simple way to think about it in this context?
It simply refers to the lack of inherent independent existence in anything we perceive. I mean, everything is empty of a solid, separate self-nature.
Got it. So the lack of inherent existence, this emptiness, unifies with the clarity or the luminosity of awareness itself.
Exactly. And Lada isn't the experience of bliss or clarity itself. That's a key point. It's the ability to maintain the consistent certainty of this unity.
So what does that look like in practice?
It means that when any concept or thought or sensory perception arises in the mind, it cannot, not even for a moment, disturb your core mental stability.
So the core of Lada's certainty is this unwavering confidence in the non-duality of whatever you're currently experiencing. A thought, a feeling, a sound, and the emptiness that underlies it.
Yes. You maintain confidence in the non-separateness of the process and its nature.
I feel like a massive internal shift.
It is the definition of the result you're looking for. But here's the critical warning that tradition always emphasizes. The trap for beginners.
Which is?
Distinguishing between true Lada, which is direct, non-conceptual, embodied experience, and false conceptual certainty.
And false certainty is what? Just thinking you get it.
Pretty much. It's based only on having read the teachings, or, very often, self-delusion. A kind of confidence in spiritual achievement that hasn't actually materialized. The texts are really clear that even highly experienced yogis can't progress until they develop true experiential Lada.
That distinction is just vital. It means you can memorize the entire philosophy and still be intellectually just, grasping at the concept rather than directly realizing it. You're just spinning your wheels.
You are.
This reminds me of that quote from Sanpa Gyare. He said something like, "Many practicing possess various techniques, but few know how to practice meditation correctly without clinging to the meditative experiences.
That's the first step of clinging right there. The attachment to the blissful state itself. You've had a great meditation, you feel fantastic, and now you want to replicate that feeling.
But that desire itself proves the whole concept is still dualistic.
Exactly. It implies I, the meditator, am trying to attain this specific, separate experience.
And once you try to hold on to a state, you've lost the unconditioned nature of the mind.
Precisely. And this non-clinging is directly related to the key aspect of the mind's nature that Lada confirms, its inherent emptiness. This is the nature of ultimate reality itself.
Okay, let's deepen our understanding of that emptiness.
Huh?
Why is the mind unchanging? You mentioned it's unconditioned by dualistic concepts. Can you elaborate on what that means for our daily reality?
It means it's beyond the concepts we impose on it. Existence versus non-existence, good versus bad, or even the basic idea of a perceiver-perceived relationship. Since it isn't conditioned by time or these concepts, we can't meaningfully say it arises or ceases.
That's pretty abstract. How do the masters help us visualize this non-conditioned state?
Well, they use a beautiful primary analogy cited by masters like Saraha and Shabarupa. The nature of mind is like space.
Space is perfect. But let's, milk this analogy for all it's worth.
Sure. So space is changeless. It's timeless. And it has no inherent attributes or characteristics that distinguish it. Shabarupa notes that it is completely meaningless to say space exists or doesn't exist.
It's an unconditioned designation.
Exactly. You can't give it a conceptual label that actually sticks.
So if our mind's nature is like space, when we realize Lada, what's the profound truth we're hitting?
We realize the mind isn't just unknowable through our cognitive processes now. The profound implication is the unshakable conviction that the mind has been empty and unconditioned, initially.
From the very beginning.
From the very beginning. There was never an instant when it was born, and there will never be an instant when it will fundamentally change or cease.
That changes the entire game. Realization isn't about making the mind pure. It's about realizing it always was pure.
Then if you truly realize this, the necessity of watching for distraction or struggling for stability just disappears.
Right.
The practical instruction from Shabarupa follows immediately from that. One should just remain in this natural state, free from concepts of arising, dwelling, and ceasing.
So everything that arises in the mind, a turbulent emotion or a peaceful thought, it just self-liberates.
It spontaneously self-liberates back into its natural unconditioned state, like steam dissolving back into the air.
That sets the philosophical framework.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's move into how we actually practice this. The next section focuses on contemplation from the position of arising. But first, the sources hit us with a prerequisite.
Devotion.
Devotion.
Yes, Jadra Kumpa spoke of this intensely. The devotion to the teachers, to the lineage. It's not an optional accessory, it's the energy source.
What was his analogy?
His analogy was that the success of the practice depends on the stream of blessing from the master's meeting and merging with the stream of our sincere devotion. If they don't merge into a single stream, the practice lacks the dynamic energy to pierce through delusion.
Okay, so assuming that devotion is present, what's the core technique for observing arising thoughts? This moves beyond just passive sitting, right? It's active analytical observation.
Right. You start by establishing the mind in its natural, open state. You're not focusing on any object. The instruction then is to generate two types of thought, intentionally, for comparison.
Okay.
First, you observe a subtle level thought, something mild, emotionally neutral, like what you plan to eat for dinner.
A subtle thought. Got it.
Then you observe a coarse level thought, one that's accompanied by intense emotion or excitement, maybe a deep financial anxiety or a flash of intense anger.
And the task is comparing them, but not their content, right? It's the nature of the awareness perceiving them.
Precisely. You're trying to determine if there is any fundamental qualitative difference between the awareness present during that subtle thought, the awareness during the coarse thought, or the awareness present during a moment of perfect, neutral contemplation.
And the ultimate realization, I'm assuming, is that there is no difference.
The nature of the awareness is identical. That's the non-duality we're pursuing. And you apply the same technique externally to sensory perception.
So you apply the non-duality test to the external world. You look at an attractive sight versus a repulsive sight. You listen to loud, irritating sounds versus quiet, pleasing music.
And you analyze them. Is the awareness that registers the attractive sight different from the awareness that registers the repulsive one? The analysis should lead you to an inevitable conclusion. The goal is to discover the non-duality between the manifestation, the thought, the perception, the emotion, and the emptiness, which is the mind's nature.
Shabaripa said that all sensations and mental processes possess a single flavor.
The taste of ultimate reality.
That idea, that needs more time. What does that mean practically for you, the learner?
Well, if you realize that intense pain and intense pleasure, while obviously different in their temporary effect, share a single flavor at the level of ultimate reality, it completely shifts your relationship to suffering.
How so?
You are no longer desperately trying to hold on to the pleasant or escape the unpleasant, because both are viewed as equally transient manifestations of the same unconditioned awareness.
That is powerful. It connects back to Tippala's analogy where thoughts are like waves arising and disappearing in the ocean's depths.
They don't disturb the ocean itself.
You realize the inseparability of the mind and all the processes that happen within it.
And that realization then allows us to move into overcoming an even more subtle form of dualism, the separation between the meditator and the meditation.
Right. We tend to conceptualize practice as, I am sitting here and I'm meditating. That dualistic structure is incredibly sticky.
It is the final subtle hurdle. The technique is designed to push you beyond conceptual understanding toward a direct, non-conceptual realization.
So what do?
You start by focusing your attention on an external object, and then you shift your focus back to the mind itself, and you actively try to locate a separate entity, the meditator, who is distinct from the ongoing process of meditation.
And what happens when you search for that separate I?
You arrive at a clear, non-conceptual vision that the two are inseparable. You cannot find a separate agent. The meditator and the meditation just merge into one continuous, non-substantial flow of awareness.
And once that core duality dissolves, all other dualities just collapse. Concepts of time, past, present, and future are seen to arise from and dissolve back into the unborn nature of the mind.
The same goes for the concept of self versus other. The idea of me versus the rest of the world is seen to arise from the unconditioned nature of the mind, and it is itself without inherent support. It's non-dependent.
So Saraha's instruction is pretty unforgiving.
It is. Shed all dualistic concepts, mother, forward, backward, meditator, meditation, because they instantly become new mental contaminations. Freedom is achieved by removing the very idea of effort or doing.
Which logically leads us to the most advanced stage of the practice, non-meditation. This requires recognizing everything that arises as unborn, which means you must abandon all effort and concepts about practice.
And the abandonment has to be total. You have to shed concepts of object and meditator, attachment to meditative experiences like bliss or clarity, and all effort to achieve specific states. Critically, you must let go of even the subtle, final effort of trying to maintain remembrance or equilibrium.
Even the idea I need to let everything go is too much effort.
That's the subtlety of it. You let go of the letting go. In this state, the mind remains completely relaxed and effortless.
And your daily life.
You act spontaneously in daily activities, eating, walking, speaking, without conceptually analyzing or planning them. This is why masters in this tradition might minimize traditional religious actions, like regular pujas or elaborate prayers, because those often imply doing something separate from the mind's natural perfect state.
Now, here's the crucial warning. Because this sounds like it could devolve into a kind of spiritual nihilism or indifference. What's the risk?
The profound risk, and it's exemplified by the historical mistake of Heshang Mahayana, is falling into the subtle effort to prevent thought.
So prioritizing blankness over awareness.
Exactly. When you try to force the mind into a blank, non-moving state, you risk deep indifference, lethargy, or even depression.
So the goal isn't forced stillness, but relaxed, effortless awareness.
Exactly. The dullness or negative states are caused by the clinging to the idea of stillness, that subtle effort to control the mind. The solution is always to just return to a state of relaxed lightness and ease.
And when you succeed in abandoning all effort, you achieve the state of non-meditation.
Right. Since awareness remains constant and effortless, because its nature is unconditioned, everything that arises, whether it's thoughts, emotions, actions, is spontaneously liberated and becomes part of the meditation. As Gampopa notes, nothing happens outside of it.
The mind's clean nature can't be contaminated.
Just as vast space can't be contaminated by the clouds passing through it.
Okay, so if this state of effortless awareness is truly continuous, the final and most profound challenge is how this realization holds up through the transition of sleeping. How can this continuous awareness be maintained through the dream state?
The sources recognize that often awareness is lost upon falling asleep, so the instruction shifts. Immediately upon waking, the practitioner must focus intensely on the nature of the experience they perceived in the dream state.
So it's a retroactive analysis. You don't necessarily have to be aware during every single thought in the dream.
Gampopa confirms this. He says, "It is sufficient to recognize the nature of the thoughts after awakening. By analyzing the dream experience, the fluidity, the lack of substantiality, you must realize that the luminosity of the mind in waking life and the luminosity of the dream experience are inseparably linked."
They share that single flavor.
They share that single flavor.
Which brings us full circle. The entire system, from comparing a coarse thought to recognizing the unconditioned nature of a dream, it all relies entirely on developing true lada. This absolute certainty that the mind's nature is always pure and unconditioned, regardless of the temporary manifestation.
Exactly. We've uncovered a path to absolute certainty regarding the unborn, empty nature of the mind, achieved not by accumulation, but by the relentless analytical dismantling of dualistic concepts.
Like meditator meditation and even wakefulness sleep.
All of it.
So this detailed framework gives you, the learner, specific, powerful, analytical tools. You're now equipped to view every internal and external experience, not as separate phenomena that you must struggle to manage, but as spontaneous manifestations that all share that single, pure flavor of ultimate reality.
And this knowledge is claimed to be highly efficient. The masters state that those who correctly develop true lada, this unshakable certainty, can achieve in days the same progress that others, lacking this fundamental confidence, might spend years pursuing in traditional, conceptually bound meditation.
That staggering claim about efficiency really highlights the central barrier: subtle effort. We've defined the pitfalls. The provocative thought to end on is this: what hidden efforts or subtle conceptual hang-ups might you be holding on to right now, even in your quest for knowledge and understanding, that imply doing or achieving something and could be slowing your own realization?